quality handmade soaps, where handmade is the best made. Proudly making soap for over 5 years, Quality Handmade Soap sets the standard in both quality and safe ingredients. Perfect for the holiday season. I'm telling you right now, you see that Black Rose soap, I got that in my shower, and man, let me tell you what, your husband or wife will love it. Use promo code VHHN2022 to get 15% off your first purchase. Link is in the description box. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, Old Guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Sam Ant Viral. Hip Hop News. You're in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. We got royalty in the building. The legendary Ernest Lee Thomas is on the podcast.
Yes,
How
sir.
you doing today, sir?
How are you? Thank you. Wow.
Indeed, man. Now, it's a pleasure to have you on. We've been blessed to have a lot of great people on this podcast, a lot of childhood people that we've got to watch on TV and idolize young. And you are definitely one of them people being raised what's happening. Definitely appreciate you coming on. So we start the interviews off, man, just to ask, how you feeling out here in 2021? It's definitely a new world than the one that we once had. So how you feeling out here?
Woo, brother. You know, on the one hand, just blessed at 72, right? At 72 years old to be alive, you know, and have your right mind, you know, and still be optimistic, you know. At the same time, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. You know, there's a lot of carnage in our neighborhoods. Of course, the racism is an all-time high, but also the gang activity and suicide among our young brothers, particularly our young Black brothers, 20s and 30s, second leading cause of homicide. So if I think on things too much, Reverend Cecil Murray told me that, and I went, that's not true though, really? He says, no, that's true. You know, that we men, as Black men, we don't talk about it. We'll just either do it or find ways to enter into situations that we will get killed. And that definitely gives you, give you pause for tears. You know, so I had gotten to a point, you know, I'll be honest with you, brothers, that I was physically ill from all that's going on, you know. On the one hand, dealing with because obviously the KKK has infiltrated the police department, and they said that years ago on Geraldo Rivera's show, they will no longer wear the white hoods. They will get into Congress. They will become policemen, you know, and they have fulfilled that promise. So so now they do have the license to just even put drugs on someone or just the least little thing. They have an excuse to murder young Black men. And then on the other hand, you know, the carnage within Chicago and Little Rock, Compton, and the various urban areas where there's no let up there either, you know. So I got physically ill between knowing both of those factors, you know, and specifically having to go to Washington, D.C. area, where we had a moratorium on gang violence for Father's Day weekend. And just to have to hug the mothers who lost their little girls, their daughters, because they didn't give the gang member their phone number, or the gang member would knock on the door and tell whoever their son is, have you decided yet? He says no. They will shoot him right there. And what are you gonna do? Tell the police? They know where you live. What you gonna do? You know. So having to try to make them laugh, and I would do that. I would act real silly, say the dumbest things possible. But when I got to the hotel room, brother, it just, and then I asked the ministers. That's another area that really brought the tears. These are the men of God, called by Christ. No greater love than to lay down your life for your friend. So at the press conference, I said, I have an idea. If all the ministers in Maryland and DC area, forget about the denominations, but we come together for our Black kids, in the name of Jesus, we march. We'd have the mothers of the gang members with us, the grandmothers. Forget about your denomination. We walk together. We don't point fingers. We go in the name of Jesus, embracing the gang. We don't care what he's done. We just embracing them. We just putting it out there. We will let the power of Christ and our love and uniting together be all that. And the guy that brought me there, he says, Ernie, that's good. That's nice, brother, but that will never happen because the ministers have such a jealousy of one another. They will not come together. And I said, oh, I can't believe now, just not one or two ministers. It got all the, and you know what, brother? They brought the tears. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing. No one called. And I left there with no one calling. So how do you, if the men of God don't think it's that important, right? To come together, to forget about their Rolls Royces and the money they make all the material gains, and that's what it boils down to. Because if you call by Christ, that should matter. You should come together, and if you love your people, you should come together. Nothing. Same thing in Gary, Indiana. I was on a call, and I got so angry I started cussing. I would call them all kinds of names, the ministers, and the phones are lighting up, right? The lady said, oh, everybody, they agree with you, And I said, you ministers, you pimping in the name of Jesus, And sure enough, there are so many churches there. There are over 400 churches in Little Gary and Danny. Would you believe? Not one. And she says, oh, they did try. And then they had an argument and didn't meet anymore because they couldn't decide who was gonna be the leader. So that's where I'm at. So if I don't think about it too much, if I'm in prayer and I think about, let me look at the good, like these young Black kids who have a higher IQs than anyone in the world, and the young Black young kid that got into Harvard, and he had he was the first male valedictorian at 4.4 something. I got to look at all that, and then I have to remember the real deal. We having the most copy culture in the world, thinking about that. We were first. That don't mean we have to look down on anyone else, but God breathed breath into us first. And our kids have to know our history don't begin with slavery. We were first. We even enslaved people, but we were the first that God talked to and spoke to and walked with, right? We were God's road dog. And we have to know that history, that we come from a rich spiritual history, achievements off the chain, and that remember that and walk with that crown, walk with that you are a child of the King, like you were the first. That don't mean to look down on anyone, but you birthed everything else. And wear that crown, forget about everything else, knowing that information and go with it, go with God, achieve it as John 14:14, ask anything in my name. And stop begging and asking, as I told Jesse Jackson's son when he was trying to boycott. And I actually went to Push. I was at Push, and because we were doing a play in town, and Bernadette Stannis and Thelma, she said, please, Ernie, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And then I had to. I said, can I just say something? I loved Reverend Jackson, but we are bigger than that.
Yeah.
We don't have to march and protest the Oscars. We are trillions and trillions of dollar nation, you know, and we have to pool our monies together, like our fellow Italians did, the Jewish brothers did, the Mormons did. The Mormons were outcasts. They killed the leader of the Mormon at 38, 39 years old. They thought that was it. Then they said, oh, okay, we're going to unite among ourselves. We're going to put all our money together, and we keep the money within us. They are the richest religion in the world. No welfare, no relief. They don't have unemployment. They take care of their own. And I said, so Jesse Jr., please tell your father, I love him, but he's misdirected, man. He needs to have an in-house meeting with all the music moguls. We got the $1 billion rap head. We got billionaires within the business world, baseball players, basketball, all this. Why are we begging? Like we broke, you know? And if he would do that, God would really be on our side, because you are being grateful for what you do have and using what you do have. You know, I said we would have so much, we would be optioning scripts from other people, other nationalities. We'll option from the Asians and the Irishmen, and we'd have so much. We'd do our own stories, of course, but we would do it like it's supposed to be done. You know, yes, we could show them how it's done. Not only express all the greatness of our culture, you know, but we got so much going on that we can even option their stories.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'm very, when I think about who I am, where I come from, like I said, with that history, knowing that God breathed breath into us first. And that's why a lot of my friends who I grew up with they are alcoholics or they are dead. I can't dwell on that. I can't dwell on what's going on around me. I gotta say, what can I do to catapult myself above all that and still reach back, right? And do something about it. And I tell my young proteges now, you know, the same thing, because they're Ernie, you know, the Rothschilds, and there's the conspiracy about the vaccine, and this is going on, and you know what they're doing? They're trying to do this, and I said, okay, you know what? So what? You know, if the whole world was black, evil is gonna persist. It's gonna be here, baby. Okay, so I gotta look at what can I do? What can I do? I got to get into something bigger than this world, and I say God, I say Christ, and unite with brothers of like minds and like spirit, and change it around. I'm telling you, I was bullied by my own. Then you got they're hanging us in the South. You got to go to the back of the restaurant. I said that's what I grew up with, you know. So y'all don't know about no hardship.
I was actually going to ask you that the next question. You know,
I'm sorry. I just went on.
It's great, man. It's great. It's all great content. So born in Gary, Indiana. Obviously, we know the history of that.
Yes.
What did you experience, and what would you say that racism, you know, has gotten any worse or any better since, you know, you grew up until now?
Well, you know, wow, it's twofold. You know, there's a lot of progress. I think there's a lot of progress in it seems in every area, but it seems law enforcement, you know, there's definitely, I mean, you look at what hip hop did with music. You can be on have no hits with doing poetry, you know, basically spoken word with music, you know. They revolutionized that. So I don't, when people say, well, this is a racist country, I said, definitely we have racism here, but there are a lot of things I can't do, even in Nigeria, even in my own African countries, I cannot protest, you know? So it's like it's like having parents, and I can see what my father I never saw my father, but I'm not going to say I don't know what it was. He's not the worst in the world. He wasn't there to abuse me, but he wasn't around. And look at my mother. My mother, for whatever reason, didn't want me to connect with him at all. So she hid him from me. And I had mad resentment. I can't say she's the worst mother in the world. So I just think we definitely have a lot of progress. More millionaires than ever. The thing is, you have opportunity here. You do have opportunity here. So I'm not going to be the pessimist and say it's the worst area. Nothing has changed. That's not true. Just not true. And even with the whole police thing about, I can understand, because it's the racism is so, when you have a guy putting his knee on a brother that long, and just young girls, you can't wound a girl with a knife, you got to kill her, even if they are running. So what? Let them run. The lady who was trying to reach for the taser and she shot because the kid was running. That's you. I'm sorry. It's like something in you wanted to murder that child, So, but at the same, I wouldn't say defund the police. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't defund the police. Ask the black mothers in DC, in Maryland, should they defund the police? Now you can root out the racist KKK cops that are there. Yeah, and my suggestion is there should be a law that President Biden should put in that a white cop can never stop a black man unless there's a white cop can never stop a black man unless there's black people present. Never, and that might take years to level out what we trust. Well, okay, it's balanced out now, not to defund the police, just root out the racists. But at the same time, we cannot trust that a white policeman will do the right thing when he stops a black man, so he can never stop a black man without black men present. Okay.
Very, very strong and bold statement. We couldn't agree more. With that said, though, will he ever do it, or will he ever even suggest it?
Tell me, Biden?
Yes, sir.
I wish if I could get a hold of him, I'm gonna definitely. You know what? I'm gonna contact Maxine Waters. Because she always said, Ernie, I always say I'm coming to see you. You haven't come to see me yet, so I'm gonna go to her and said, I think this would be the best thing for right now. If they had that white policemen cannot. I mean, that just as a rule, all 50 states, that they cannot stop, because it can't be trusted. You just can't be trusted. I'm serious, and they can say, there are people like, or there are great cops, but for some reason, the great cops are not speaking up. They're not. It's like, it'd be so great to see the police who say we're not into that. Why are they not marching? Why don't they just walk out of the department and say until it stops? And that they agree to that a white policeman cannot be by himself. So if you guys will help me with that as well, I really think that's the solution. Right? I mean, it's like immediately.
Oh, this is definitely going up.
Immediately. Because this system's too young, and you see it. We got to look at the video over and over and over and over of that child being murdered. We can't. Our hearts won't take it, brother. And we're not doing the little kids, our little kids a favor. The little kids are looking to us like, what are y'all doing to make it safer for us? So yes, that should be done. Thank you for saying you're in agreement with that.
What do you think about the cop Derek Chauvin, who was convicted, of the murder of George Floyd? They just put in a motion now to have a retrial, and it probably looks like he probably get that granted. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh man, don't start me the cussing.
I'm
you going that mother rucker. No, that's the most evil. It's a horrible thing to do, and I think they're going to regret that. There are going to be repercussions just at the idea of him being retried. They don't want to deal with that. It's not good. And I'm not advocating, I'm not trying to say people should get violent or like that, but it's just not good for us, our psyche as a people. But there are people out there that are just at the point they can't take it anymore. You can't get more obvious than that when the man is casually, like almost like he got his knee on in George Floyd's neck, and he's just, okay, can I get a just like this? That's calm about it. He's so calm and cavalier, like an animal. And like they said, if it was a dog, there'd be really outrage. He's not an outrage. They'll be really outraged if he had his foot on a dog's neck like that. So no, that's effed up.
Are you familiar with Dr. Boyce Watkins?
Yes.
Dr. Boyce Watkins, a friend of the show. We love Dr. Boyce. We had him on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the situation. And he said that although there's definitely racism, not only in America, but definitely within the police system, he seems to believe that there's maybe a little more of a motive because the two knew each other. And he says that there may have been, he's not sure if there may have been a little more of a personal motive, more so than race. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes. I forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget but I don't know how true it was. But
Right.
So that is true.
I believe so. Yeah, I think they worked at a nightclub together, if I'm not mistaken. In the past, they knew each other.
That makes a lot of more sense. That makes a lot of sense. It seems that makes it now I can see it being a personal thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Murder.
He didn't. Yeah. That with the knee there that long.
Uh-huh.
I can see it. I could see that.
Yeah, definitely. You made a great point when you talk about the animal. Like if it was like a dog on TV, that they done that too. Oh my God, the outrage would be crazy.
Right? Oh my God. Oh my God. They be burning buildings.
Man. Yeah.
So you brought up I'm sorry.
Oh my God. You know it.
You brought up another really good point when you talked about you made me think about something when you brought up your mother and her keeping you away from your dad for what reason you don't know, and that's a issue in our community that's not often talked about. And that's when we have a parent situation doesn't work out. The son in particular, because we're all men here. Let's talk about the boys, and we could talk about the girls as well, but let's just talk about the boys right now. And they leave him with the mother. And the father may be a good man, but for some reason, she's not letting them see the kid and saying bad things and putting things in their head. How detrimental is that to a young man? And how important is it for them to have their father in their life, no matter the situation?
Brother, it's so criminal. The mothers have no idea. Haywood Nelson, who played Dwayne on the show, he has 3 daughters. His wife did the same thing to him.
Damn.
And he's a good father, but she's upset because, I think he's cheating. And he wasn't, but she was so jealous because he's popular among the women. Of course, they're going to grab him and kiss him in front of her because he was like that little heartthrob. But when she divorced him, she turned those girls against that man so bad. I saw that firsthand. And to the point that she made it seem like he didn't care, or if he was supposed to take him for Christmas, the last thing was like, he was supposed to take him for Christmas. So she said that, he don't want y'all there. So he thinking that they are on their way. She does this trick where she tells him like, he has something the last minute he has something else to do. So they told him, we're going to change our last name to our stepfather because they had brothers and sisters now from him. And I don't know, he's 30 some years now. And I know another friend, Michael, same thing. Another friend, the woman will use the kid as a pawn, saying that he molested the child. I had a friend that went through that, and the FBI came to the door. He was staying with me. The FBI came. They gave him the lie detector thing. It was not true, and she was on the run. And he didn't get to see his son until the son was in his 30s. Right. They don't understand. And I have mad resentment. Yeah, I love my mother, but I had to be honest. And I didn't know. And someone was saying, Aaron, do you think you have resentment? I said, no, but you know what? I had to realize I have mad resentment towards my mother because it's like I can understand as a baby, because she thought, well, he might kidnap you. That's the first thing she said. Well, we thought he might kidnap you because he was in Missouri and I moved to Gary, Indiana. Okay, but I'm in high school, still nothing.
Yeah.
College, nothing. Even during what's happening, nothing. And even when there was one friend of hers that was going to tell me, because I went home during a break, and her friend was visiting. She, oh boy, I know where your father is. Yeah, well, I said, well, call me and let me. She said, okay, I'll call. When I called her, look, I can't get in this. I don't know nothing because my mother had gotten to her. They don't realize, and they're doing this. This is still, the black women are still doing it with all the black power stuff. That's one area they're still not. The majority, to me, have not gotten how they don't understand how important that is. I feel it. I mean, my grandmother said, well, God is your father, but God made it so that there was a father and a mother, and I had 4 uncles, thank God. I had a pastor that played that father figure role, too, but it was always that longing. And even at 72, he said, I don't know, you think like, what if he was just there, there's no there's no role model, but I got to look. Well, like I said, I had the 4 uncles, but someone that looks like your blood is in. You got his blood.
Yep.
You're like, what would that be like? What am I missing out on? And
sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No,
no, you can finish. Apologize.
No, I'm just saying that I've seen and I've even confronted one of them. I said, now, look, I know, he might have cheated on you, but he loved his children. Yeah. So don't spite him because of that. Don't keep him from his kids, And I mean, she said whatever, but she still did it.
You had a few friends that I grew up with that, they didn't have their dads in their life, and they would try to play it off like they didn't care, but they would always bring it up. They would always bring that. That's how I knew that they really cared and they really longed for. So that's a real important relationship, the father and the son. But I want to talk about go back to the beginning a little bit. Talk about how you got the role and what's happening for us, please.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I love Cooley High, and again, just believe in divine orchestration. I had seen Cooley High. Thought that should have been me, but of course I love Glenn. Glenn was so good. No one could do that. He was Preacher Jackson, but I felt like that should have been me, and I was so upset with the agents and I said, man. They said, well, they only hire actors in Los Angeles like that, and but it was over. That's Ernie, but that's nothing you can do about it. That's over, But it just never left me that role of Preacher Jackson. Like that was me. And as God would have it, right? I decided to go to LA, and I always tell the young people, take the risk, walking by faith, not by sight. Took a red eye because I did not intend to return back to New York. Took a red eye to LA. I'm gonna get me a TV show. I wanted to have a sitcom. That was the popular thing then. And so I came here with nothing, no one to stay with, none of that. My frat brothers, I love them now, the Kappas, but they wouldn't let me stay at the Kappa house. I would stay with friends of a friend, had no agent, all that. Talking about, walking by faith and not by sight. And as God would have it, I finally got a role on the Jeffersons. And then one of the agent for Isabel Sanford, she said, there's a new pilot called Cooley High. It's like Twilight Zone. You hear the Twilight Zone music right then, right? And there's a new pilot, and you would be perfect for it. So I told I did have an agent finally by that time, and they were like, okay, I beat out over 200 people. All my friends that wanted to be raw. And again, I have friends actors they were more talented than me. And they had that. So they had that hate. They were hating on me. I gotta make sure this phone doesn't go out on me. Sorry for a minute. Make sure. I saw the battery thing go up there. So I had a lot of hate when I finally did get it, and I got the show again, divine orchestration. John 14:14, ask anything in my name, and Jesus said he would do it. So I just knew without shadow of a doubt. I did not know it was going to happen within a year. Within a year of coming to LA with nothing, top 10 show in the nation. All right. Top 10 show in the nation. And on top of that, people that I admired, like Dr. Maya Angelou, wanted to get with me. Ali wanted to get with me, Smokey Robinson, and whoever you met. They were like Stevie Wonder being my fan, and which I'm saying, I know Steve ain't watching the show. I know he ain't looking at the show, but he knew he could imitate. He could recite line. Or Sidney Poitier, when I did Piece of the Action, he wanted to be in his movie. So just asking again, not looking at what's wrong, not looking at how hard it is, not looking at the statistically actors don't work and all that, and there ain't that many black. I can't think about all that. I'm connected to God. All right. And in that, I am almighty. We're God with a little g. We're like our Father, Almighty God, the creator of all. And you're going to tell me I can't have what I want. So, so August 5th, 1976. And this year, 45 years later, 45th anniversary, walking by faith and not by sight. What's happening? That's how it came about.
I was born in 83, and I remember watching the shows. I think What's Happening Now was airing about 85, but I remember watching the original show like it was when we were alive. And it wasn't until just recently I realized it was made in the 70s, and that just made me go, "Damn!"
Really? Oh, yeah. you just knew about What's Happening Now.
Yeah, I knew about What's Happening, but I had no idea that What's Happening Now came pre Sam existence. I had no idea that it was even going on before I was even born. And I guess our grandparents and our aunts and uncles were watching it so much that we just kind of got hip to it. So we definitely.
And when were you born? What year?
1983. I was born in 83.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
You're definitely in our household. That being said, we always like to ask the actors while we have them on here, the honor and the pleasure of having them on there. Mm-hmm. You're a Black actor. You walked in Hollywood during a time where it was definitely different. And we would love to hear your story as a Black man in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's happening? That was a big achievement, but there was still the racism was still there. I remember when the show was canceled, and then I got a new agent, and it was a role of. That I thought was derogatory towards Black men. So, but he said, "Look, Ernie, you've been typecast. This is a movie. It's a chance that you could really, And I said, "But it's such a negative portrayal, And he said, "Ernie, just come to the office. I just want to talk to you." I go to the office. This little white man, starts showing me how to be Black. In this role, how to do the role.
What role was that? If you don't mind me asking.
I can't. It was just a negative. I know the guy was pimp, drug, and you can do that where people are not. That's where you the person. He wasn't. He didn't lose. He was winning. It wasn't like good overcame the evil. Mm-hmm. I just know it was just one of those. It was just a negative. I don't know if that was because I don't want to talk negatively about pimps, because pimps were really they loved me. They took care of me when the Christians didn't. So I can't talk about pimps. I'm not saying what they do is right, but I'm just saying they took care of Ernest, made sure I had money and encouraged me. But he got up from his desk and starts going around like, "Yeah, man," and he was doing that. And I was horrible. I said, "Oh my God, I gotta go." I cannot believe. Yes, he actually no, you can do it. Just do it this way. That's the honest God truth. That really happened. I was told by a white lawyer. He says, Ernie, there is a difference in salary, and that was in the 70s. He says that's on purpose. He says there's a drawer with the black salary, there's a drawer with the white salaries. And a lot of the whites in other shows were getting more than us, Yeah. So, but now, again, you look at things that change. I mean, I think we have more power than ever, What about the little Anthony Anderson is doing, what Tyler Perry, and of course, Spike Lee, Robert Townsend did, and The Rock. I mean, the top actors are black. You look at The Rock, you look at Will Smith, you look at Vin Diesel, you look at, again, the only problem, I think, again, if we would pool our monies together, trillions of dollars, there'd be no problem right now. That's another thing. If today, Jesse or Maxine Waters, whoever's in charge right now, will have an in-house meeting to look out, and the example is there, you wouldn't have a problem with blacks and with our portrayal in films and TV. There'll be so many productions going on right now, and I can show that as a little guy in Livingston, Alabama, 3rd grade education, little dude like that, right? And he took all the little welfare checks of his parishioners. There were $200 million, brother. They bought the white mall downtown. They've got residential home areas. They're doing all that, He took them off the welfare. They're gonna pull this money together. They bought the land. They bought the livestock. We only buy among ourselves. We don't buy anything outside of our church community. And look what happened.
Yeah, powerful. I'm gonna talk a little bit about, you talk about the role you kind of denied, but I'm gonna talk about Flip Wilson. And do you think that he kind of kicked off this whole black man wearing the dress and kind of taking these type of roles? We see like Jamie Foxx, Martin, et cetera, wear a dress after Flip got it popping, got it started. So what do you think about that? And when you seen that, what was your initial reaction when you seen Flip put on the dress?
Well, as a kid, I thought it was hilarious. I wasn't thinking, anything else about it. I just thought it was, because I had never seen, he was the only one doing it, So it was, and he is a comedian, so I just looked at it as Geraldine as being funny. However, all these years later, and I'm conflicted because I think it's funny, but I don't think we can afford. It's because of our history we cannot afford. It ain't like, again, we got all this, these thousand examples of manhood and again, financial, we're just a force to be dealt with in every way, where you can afford to do something or wearing I think it was funny at that time, but is it getting too much now? I think it is. Yeah, it's getting too much. And that's not knocking gay people, or my brother was gay, my brother was trans, all that. But should you make that the norm, but yeah, it was funny back then. But again, we haven't, it's things like this, like it's too much, it's too much now, But I know that Kid what's his name? Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi. I know he just did it, and I love the kid. I just, it'd be good to ask him why. I mean, but I don't hate him, about it. But I think when I see the a lot of the blacks talking about the LBG and all that, the thing about that, brother, that's not that's hurting our community. That's one thing. You don't talk about the gangbangers though. I don't hear all these super macho brothers talking about the gang activities in Chicago, because it's easy to pick on the gays and the trans, but you ain't taking on the gangbangers and the drug dealers, The gay men are not killing us every day. Women, our black women, every fucking day. Our women are being killed by men who say they love the JJ. You don't talk about that. You don't talk that, brother, minister, pastor, bishop. Y'all ain't talking about that. Yeah, my brother was gay and all that, but he wasn't hurting women. You know, the women are being killed by men who say they love, Pussy. They love it. Okay. And I can't stand that fag and all that. But you killing our women every fucking day. And in front of their children, in front of your children, and you're beating them every damn day. Every 8 hours, a woman is being killed. And that's across the board, not just black men, white, all of them. That's in men in general. But it definitely is happening among us. And you know, one thing, I love hip hop, but the one thing hip hop did not improve on, it didn't improve on anything in the black community, except you can get more millionaires who are rappers. But did it stop the violence? No. Did it stop the women being beaten and killed in front of it? No. Did it bring economic, I think, among where we are better as a people? No. So yes, it is $1 billion industry, but has it changed us for the greater as far as our morals, you know, as far as our conditions in every way, other than we can rap and outdo the other person? No. So when I hear these black people going on, I saw some of your shows, they're talking about, the dress. Yeah, well, why aren't you speaking about that though? You know, and not only not speak on that, why don't you speak about the men who make a lot of these men gay, the pedophile, who again, this motherfucker loves the JJ too, but he also loves little boys and little girls. And nobody talks about it. None of the ministers talk about that. None of the people I saw that was on your show, the gay thing. But are you not talking about the pedophile? Todd Bridges his father went to his grave, not denying, not accepting his son's truth, but took the man's word, the pedophile friend who sodomized his son. He couldn't have done that. He loved women. Oh no, he couldn't have done that. You know? They love women. They also love little boys and little girls. So all those macho black brothers talking about the gays and all that. The bottom line is they ain't killing the women. They're not molesting the little boys as much as the men who love women. Love women. And I was molested. You know, I was molested. 2 pedophiles still alive. And you know, and back in that day, what you gonna say? You know, everybody. It's like, hey, the church ain't speaking about it. You don't know if you should say something. It's so weird because the guy, he's not gay. He's still with the woman. He got his wife. He's cheating on the wife with other women, but he had you.
Wow. How do we get a hold of it? I mean, I know that's a very.
I don't, brother. Brother. Lord help us. I just said, Lord, I'm praying for a strategy. I think just being truthful. I think every sermon, every church service, they should start off like, black men, please stop. Let's help. And you brothers have a problem with it. You know, maybe you have anger issues. We're gonna have committees on that because it's going on. Even the black ministers are hitting their one. Some of them are doing it. We know what's it, Fortune, the gospel singer. You know, he had the BB Wines. He did it. You know, they're doing it. And they not, again, every sermon should be about stopping the carnage of the black women being abused and killed, all right, and not honored as the queens who they are. Why aren't they saying that? Why aren't the politicians talking about it? Community leaders, why aren't they talking about it? They ain't talking about the pedophiles either. They should talk about that too. All you brothers, if you have a tendency to do that, or you know someone, turn them in. Kids, any kid in the service today, okay? We got 30,000 members. All right, children, don't feel bad. If it's your daddy, you know, just run to us for security. Whoever is you, if you're being molested, young girls, young boys, the pastor should say that every sermon because it's going on. It's happening.
Wow.
You know, and I was so, like, what the, you can't. And the first time I was 4 or 5 years old, my mother, I didn't even know, I buried it. My mother told me when I was writing my book, I have a book from Rod to Riches, and I said, Mom, is there anything you remember that I should put in the book? She said, oh yeah, that time, Mr. So-and-so, but your uncles, they beat him. I said, huh, what? Yeah, you told us that he touched you, and they just beat him, but they didn't tell the wife and all that. His wife was the babysitter. It was all in the projects, but she come on and babysit me sometimes. And then I'm like, why would he come playing with his children? What? And he's alive still.
So you suppressed it?
I didn't know. I didn't. Until she told me, I don't remember it. And I still can't. I don't know. I still don't remember it. And now the second time it happened, I was a little older. I do remember that. I remember that. And that guy is quite the ladies' man. I see him all the time. And part of him is guilty, and I know he wants to say something now. And I even asked my mother, I said, you think I should I just want to relieve him. Like, look, man, I forgive you. And, maybe, I don't know, you just weak at that time, but obviously you love women, but I don't hold nothing against you. And my mother, no, he's old, the man might have a heart attack, She said, don't say nothing, that it'd be such a thing after all these years, She said, please don't say nothing, he might die from a heart attack.
Can you talk about, after what's happening after, that it ended, you had the break or whatever, talk about, you going through your drug addiction and overcoming that.
Oh Lord, man. And I was the person, I was not trying to do drugs. Again, I grew up Kojic, Church of God in Christ. You couldn't go to the proms. I mean, we were real strict. You couldn't be you gotta be in the world, and I love the world. So
yeah.
And my thing was just curiosity, y'all, because I heard that Red Fox did it and Richard Pryor, and I went, and they said it would make you funnier, just uninhibited and all that. So but it made me an addict for a moment, and when the freebasing came along, I said, that's the devil's best invention, the freebasing. And whoo, I'm telling you, brother, that one there, I don't care how powerful, anointed a bishop is, he better never he better Bishop Jakes, Bishop the Pope, you better not, if you touch that pipe, I'm telling you, Pope gonna come out of that robe, brother. He gonna come out of there. That is the worst ever, brother. And going through that with the alcohol, because I love Remy Martin, and then you got the weed going on too, and a lot of it came when the show ended. When the show ended, I wasn't really focused on the drugs, because and I didn't realize I had made the show, my God. I made What's Happening, my God, the fame, my God, all that. Because when you don't have it, people treat you, when you don't have the show anymore, they treat you like that, people don't have as much patience,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you say is funny anymore. Nothing you say is interesting, and it took to 1990 before I got Malcolm X. It was so bad where I was drinking so much, and Lord, I remember getting on my knees, and because I really just thought I was gonna die, and people were whispering, and the wives of my friends, the women were always on my side. They try to tell me, look, you gotta eat more, and my husband, man, you gotta stay away from my husband. They don't even know that. The women were telling me, that it's not that they hate you, but you buy the drugs and you help, so it got so bad, brother. I was just by myself. I tried to stay away from everybody. Now I'm getting high alone, so I couldn't trust. I'm gonna get in I'm gonna be so smart. I'm gonna get into a hotel room and do the freebasing by myself, And thank God I did not OD. My dumb butt. I'm in the hotel, and then you got to take sleeping pills because you're so high now. Now I got to go out, and then I take the sleeping pills. I'm wondering, will I wake up? will I not die from all that I've done? So all that's going on. And then anyway, so I got off the coke and I'm just going to drink liquor. You know, I'm just drink liquor and no weed. And then that got so bad, the hard liquor. And so it's just like, it was so like the stars were dancing in the sky. I was so drunk and crying and got on my knees and asked God, the Lord, I can't help you, Lord. You got to take it. Even as I talk to you, Lord, I want some more. But you said, ask you, and I'm just begging you to take this from me. And I will say, brother, 1990, God took it away, and divine, supernatural, nothing. I have not gone to no AA, and I'm not knocking people if that's what you need. But I don't keep saying I'm a drug addict and all that. I was cured. God took it away, you know. But whatever works for you. But he took it away, and I couldn't believe it. I'm expecting like a month later. Okay, I haven't. Then a year passed, and another year passed. Well, you know it. You know, here I am over 30 years later. You know.
Yeah.
And but I thank you. You know, Jesus, Christ Jesus. It's plain and simple. Christ Jesus.
Appreciate you sharing that. You were saying you were from Gary, Indiana, a couple of times, and it made me think of Michael Jackson, which made me also kind of dig deeper and think about a lot of our highly touted Black actors, Black musicians now. To those who deserve fault, they deserve fault. We're not sitting here and justifying anything merely because of the color of anybody's skin. But it does seem as though a lot of our entertainers seem to get some kind of hard dose of reality when it comes to acting or entertainment, when a certain amount of power is attained, so to speak.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Talk about Mike and if you knew Mike as a friend, and then what he went through in his personal situation, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I met him through Muhammad Ali, and you know, I regret that I did not pursue the friendship more, because he didn't talk more. And as y'all know, I can talk. I can run. but Ali told us exchange numbers, right? But I would call, and you know, he just saw anyway. But yeah, looking at the power he had buying the Beatles catalog and what Prince was doing and all that. And I have my young proteges think there's conspiracy and the record label did that. And I said, brother, this is what I feel. You know, they don't have to do nothing. They will use your own weakness against you. So say, you know, we done made you this big superstar, both of y'all. Y'all are the top, you know, duo making movies and everything. Okay. But now we want to own all your stuff. You know, we're like, if they're dead, you know, now they're getting older. All right. If they're dead, we could really make, but we don't have to kill them. What are their weakness? Oh, now he got that freebase. He got the heroin thing. He combines the two, and then there's a certain woman, he likes the blonde, or he likes the red bone, he likes the black girl. All that they sinned. I believe this is my theory. Okay, they send to you, so they don't have to do anything like, okay, I'm gonna poison you. They will use your own poison that you use against you. That's what I believe in my heart of hearts. My gut tells me that they are not trying. They're gonna say, but if Michael was strong, like I don't want that. No, I ain't having that, and kept his daddy there. They can talk what they say what they want about Joe Jackson. He was a father. You know, he was a father. Even if he was, he spanked them or whatever. Bottom line is, you know, he kept you out of trouble. You know, so I feel for him, and the same thing with Prince. I do feel that Prince and Michael feared getting older too, and that can make you your own worst enemy. You know, I think that they and you do things in you do things to escape. You know, you can see Prince getting older. He didn't like that, but you saw Michael getting older. He didn't like that. You know, the body ain't what it used to be. Instead of Prince and Michael becoming producers and taking these young brothers and and become that OG, you know, become that sage, you know. You don't have supernatural success now.
Yeah.
You can't get it back anymore. Let it go. Now create the future, a better future for them. You know the ins and outs, and you got enough clout. So that's the thing I think they made. I even, I'm gonna go out there and say, even with Dr. King and Malcolm X, I love them. They died, but I think it'd been better had they lived, had they not thought they had to die.
Yeah.
If they had just gone back and be the old sage and let these young brothers advise them, create young Malcolm X's and young Dr. Kings, right? Because it did not fulfill. It didn't really. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can say, oh, that's a great story, but the impact on the community, I don't see it. I think it would be better if they had just kind of like, okay, you know what? Because when it's one person in charge, they assassinate them,
Yes.
And Dr. Angela told me that. She says one thing though, that they when they killed President Kennedy, they were letting black men know if you're gonna be the leader, all right, you're gonna be the leader, okay. And instead of you coming together, don't let your ego make you like, I gotta be the one, Jesse or Al Sharpton. Bring the young brothers up, don't be the only one, we need to have future leaders, and I think if they had invested in young Malcolms and young Dr. Kings, again, who am I to talk? They were, we say all that. They had to do what they had to do. God bless them. And I think they were sincere about it. I'm just saying in hindsight, and definitely what Dr. Angela told me about when you saw a white sitting president had his head blown out off in broad daylight. What does that tell a black man?
Ooh. Man, powerful.
So what does that say about Obama, sir? If I ask you that.
Okay, Lord help me. Okay. I love President Obama. I just think he failed as far as our young black people. I love the brother, and I would tell him that to his face. I love you, but brother, I just don't understand why you did not go to Chicago and all those areas. You, as a black man, what it would mean to those young black kids who are doing their homework with the little flashlight because they're afraid of sitting up, a bullet might come. What it would mean to them, the president of the United States would just come, to those and say, look, it's going to be all right. But all that 8 years, the violence just swelled, and but he was a monogamous. He great Harvard trained and all. We can look at all those great things, And I think he's well intentioned. I don't know if he's afraid or what it was. I don't think he deliberately whatever, but I just didn't understand that part. I just didn't understand why he did not take a more active role. Because you making history. That should have been a part, especially the last 4 years of his. The first 4 years, okay, you had to do whatever, please whoever. Then the second 4 years, okay, now this is how I really want to do it, And I just, again, as far as a role model of a person who again, was a good father, good husband, he did. I will give him this. He let out more. He gave more pardons than any president ever, So he did, I think it was over 1,000 or something like that. So that balances it out. So I want to give him that now too. He did do that, He let a lot of, because it was so many, and that's still a thing that I can't even think about. I would start crying right now. All the brothers who are falsely accused or who are in jail because of Clinton's 3 strikes you out. That's Clinton.
Biden too, yeah.
Right? 3 strikes you out. They still in there, because the 3rd strike was they stole a bottle of cologne or some cigarettes or whatever. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So the whole thing about Trump coming, a lot of people have never forgot that. They were like, "Oh, I want something different." But Hillary, she was a part of it. She was a part of it. That 3 strikes you out was the worst thing that ever happened to the Black community, and he destroyed a lot of Black families with that. He took the Black man out of the household. The president, the so-called first Black president, and again, I don't think the guy did it on purpose. I'm gonna do this. That's but it happened. I just don't think. What are you thinking about? To say 3 strikes, no matter what the last one is, you're in jail for life? That is stupid. That's evil.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna ask you about Martin Lawrence. Is it true that he got his start on your show? And what do you think about Martin Lawrence?
Yeah, Martin did. He got a little arrogant, but yeah, that's a whole other thing. But he did get a start on what's happening. Who knew? And I was, I accepted him with open arms because, the other cast members didn't want him on the show. And it wasn't like he was just incredibly funny, now, of course, I love the Martin show, but it wasn't there. But I was there with him when he was turned down by the Comedy Store 3 times. Yeah, but that was it. He got his start on there. Then he started having that little funky attitude. And, and I just look at him and I said, sometimes I look at these brothers and boy, sit your ass down somewhere. All that money and all that. I am a child of God. I am owned and operated by Jesus Christ. You can never upstage me. So you sit your ass down somewhere. Acting new for what reason? Why are you gonna act new on me? What did I do? But it is what it is.
You saying Martin tried to upstage you at some point?
No, he just acted new once he got the success. He just acted new. He told when Martin, because I went with him, like I said, when he was turned down on the show, when he was turned down for the Comedy Store, and even fighting for him to stay on our show, because only Shirley and I wanted him on there, so when he got Martin, he brought me by. He told Tashina, Tommy Ford, and all of them, look, this is the man. He stood by me, Ernie, everything I'm in. You're gonna be in everything, Ernie. I'm gonna put you. And I not that I thought he was gonna really do. I thought, well, he's gonna at least be friendly, at least maybe something here and there. But he had once the more the success came, you can't get a hold of him. I had 1 some million. John Claude Lamar, one of my former proteges, who's an outstanding director. We have a film. We have a Western comedy, and I figured, well, the guy said, all I need, Ernie, the millionaire said, all I need is 1 star. I went, well, I know Martin, because he said anything he can do, and man, not only did he not talk, he could at least call me himself and said, no, you got the agent calling me. And then we made the offer. We offered him $500,000 for 13 days. It ain't like you were you were lighting up the box office, okay? Offered him $500,000 for 13 days, piece of it back in, and a producer thing. And never heard from the agent after that. Never heard from him. And that's all of it. It was a lot of brothers we offered it to. And that's the thing. That crab in the barrel thing is that y'all need to stop that shit. It exists. I've had more of the Latino brothers helping me. A Latin brother who had gave one of my proteges a distribution deal so we could get money to do a horror film. He did more than he don't even know me, but he just grew up on the show. A lot of them, they perpetrate the P Diddy's and all that. They full of shit. Full of shit. all that yapping. He was like, oh man, man, whatever you need. Can't you call him? It's not that you're trying to get money. Hey man, you can put the music in there. You could put, maybe put your name on it. Maybe that'll help us get the other name. Nothing. You can't even get a hold of them.
So it's black.
Just talking, just running their mouth for nothing. They're worse than the white person. They're worse than any evil, because they're good white people in the industry, but they're worse than any racist, who's trying to do a double deals or whatever. Like Mace was told P. Diddy. Y'all know that. When Mace said, P. Diddy, you talk about white people, why don't you ease up? Why don't you let me off the plantation?
So is it fair to say that a lot of these entertainers and stuff use black pride for profit?
I'm sorry.
Is it fair to say that a lot of these entertainers, you talked about Diddy, and he's very vocal about black pride and what we got to do for us, and uses that a lot. Is it fair to say that they use that for profit?
Yes, absolutely. With all due respect, brother, you look at it, with TLC, Tony Braxton, what they had to go through with L.A. Reid and Babyface, they were brought. How are you gonna sell 10 million records and they out of their own? The girls were saying it, Okay, yeah, you don't do drugs and all that, but why y'all just like them? Why are you just like them? And no one calls them on it, Well, I plan to, I'm asking God for those like mine and like spirits. And there's some good brothers. I got a few proteges, some warriors, As I spoke about this at various events, it's the younger people that really, they're cheering me on. The people in my age group, and they don't like what I'm saying when I say don't complain about no white scripts and let's put our monies together and we'll trillion dollar nation. They don't want to. But the young folks, the young people, they hear me. They told me, don't ever give those speeches to your generation. They're stuck. They're stuck begging. We know. And a lot of them are coming together. The young black brothers and sisters in the business world and in the entertainment world, they're working more together. Now they don't have that crap. That crap in the barrel thing is not so much among them. Is Ussens.
Definitely.
I'm gonna ask you about Bill Cosby, man. Talk about the time that he dissed you, and then talk about what do you think that ended up happening with Bill Cosby? How do you feel about that now? Him being in prison for that whole went down with him. Can you talk about that?
It breaks my friends said, Ernie, what are you crying? When he was sent to prison, I literally was crying because as much as I could not stand the man. Still, what he created as an artist, I didn't think that at that age, being put in prison, I thought that was so degrading. I thought they definitely could have done something else, being on the house arrest, X amount of money for a fine that he had to pay. But to put him in jail, I just thought that was over the top. At the same time, no, I didn't want to have lunch with him because I think still think he's an arrogant man. But I just think I think a lot of the blacks who were in power and they didn't do it, a lot of blacks who had the power to speak up for him. You notice that wasn't going on.
Yeah.
How it was the silence was deafening. It was no, Yeah. And again, what he did to us was evil, You're too old and to know, but you old enough to know better. You know what we went through as the people, and you're going to do that. You're going to deliberately walk past. You see us begging just for attention and you're going to smoke your cigar and walk in front of us, letting us know, I don't see you. What's the difference in you and the KKK? What's the difference?
You speaking in reference to black people?
I'm sorry.
Are you speaking in reference to black people when you say just leaving us sit behind?
Oh, I'm not. No, that was Bill Cosby. But what Bill Cosby did, reference to black people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What he did to as young black men, he's an elder of the business. He should have given us the words of encouragement, man. But he's just like, I mean, it was like I said, and only on the set of the piece of the action, because Sidney Poitier was loving me so much. Now Sidney was giving me so much love, and he said, "Hey, Bill, aren't you proud of him?" And he had to come over because Sidney is pulling him into it, But oh man, and I know another young lady that he did. She didn't go to the police, I have a friend, went to Spelman and all that. She said, yeah, he tried, but she could not believe it. She looked at him as like this black father figure, and he trying to get in their clothes, So it is a lot of women that won't speak up. He did it, and the black men should stop that mess too. Oh, he was trying to buy NBC. Are you that stupid? How in the hell, if I write you the check, I gave you the check, Bill Cosby, you gonna take the check I gave you and buy me? That's how stupid these people say. Oh, the reason they did that, see, he was trying to buy NBC, butthole. How in the hell can he buy NBC? They gave him the check. How in the hell he gonna buy NBC? If I gave you $400 million or $1 billion, how much do I have? Oh, they were angry. That didn't bother. He was his own. Again, they used what you have. It wasn't drugs. His thing was sex. So they let him build it up. Girl after girl, woman after woman, woman after woman and then it all hit. And you got 50-some women, everybody wrong. And I know personally of a young lady who went through it. And you didn't have to do that, man. You're a handsome guy. You don't have to drug women to have sex with them, and won't own up to it. Still won't say he did none, not one. That's arrogance, and God don't like it. God don't like ugly. Bill is ugly.
So would you say that he's guilty then of that?
Absolutely guilty. Yeah, he's guilty. Absolutely guilty. Ain't got nothing to do with it. Guilty. Guilty.
Let me ask you this, sir, Key, because arrogance, obviously, that's something frowned upon. Him passing and hitting on women, that's obviously frowned upon, but that's completely different than drugging them and doing something. So,
yes,
that's a situation where, and I'm not trying to dig too deep in your friend's business, but was she drugged or was she just hit on?
She was just hit on.
Okay.
She wasn't drugged. No, she was just because she looked at him as he's only been her father. So no, she was just hit on. Yeah.
Okay. So he's not guilty. I mean, that's frowned upon, and that's maybe an ass or per se.
Right.
Nothing. Right. You're not sitting in jail for life for that. I got you. Okay.
No, exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to kind of transition, what as we conclude the interview, we're sitting here with Ernest Lee Thomas of the Hip Hop and Censor Podcast. Definitely appreciate your time. What you got going on now? What's next for you? How is life now? You talk a lot about having proteges and mentoring the youth. So talk about what you got going on now.
Well, I got some young kings and queens, brother, that I won't name them, but they're gonna be you're gonna definitely know about them. And they're going to supersede me and everyone out there. But me personally, I just finished a faith-based film called Playhouse that was in the theater for a brief moment, but it's on the Win Network. It's a free streaming service, but you do have to pay a fee for that film because it's a new film called The Playhouse. And then I have another film called Two Wolves. I think one of my best roles, Mikhail Shannon Jenkins. That's one of my former proteges. I'm about to do another film with him, and he's a force to be dealt with. Talking about a believer in Christ, and yet strong black man. And so we did Two Wolves. That's on Tubi. That's another free streaming service. We also was on Amazon. We have a film called The Gods on Amazon. And The Chosen, that's also on Amazon. And again, I'm about to do a new film with him where he has all this young cast. These young kids are Latino, black, white. They are amazing, man. So I'm playing the OG in this one. I am going to Comic-Con, Pensacon. I'll be in Pensacon in Florida, May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I'll be there for that. So I'm always excited to meet the fans, and my the book From Raj to Riches. I'm getting. I just asked Jamie Foxx, as a matter of fact, to be a producer. I'm waiting for his, and he's been really nice, but I'm waiting to see. I would like to do a documentary and then actually a gospel musical from Raj to Riches, based on my life. And then I want to make that transition, if you will, from producer to producer, because I care a lot, and I want to underwrite young brothers and sisters. They don't do a song and dance. You ain't got to sleep with me. You ain't got to worship me. You ain't got to kiss my butt. Just be prolific, be professional who you are, and just get the paperwork together, make it happen. I'm asking God for that, and I know that's gonna happen. I want to, as Ron Howard did, and Meathead from the Sanford, from All in the Family, Rob Reiner. I definitely would love to be behind the scenes now, and still do a film whenever. But that's the goal. But right now, the Playhouse, Two Wolves, and The Chosen. You can see those on the Amazon, Tubi, and the Win Network.
Awesome. My last question will be, to you, because it's truly a blessing to live, a long age, 70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah. What is your secret to success and just, having longevity in Hollywood and in life as well?
Well, first I'll say Jesus Christ. I know people say, "Oh man, you such a Bible thumper." I said, "No, because I cuss and all that. I'm a sinner knocking at heaven's door, and I think God loves that I'm real. I know He ain't done with me yet. The secret is that I have love for people, man. I'm born. God crafted me that way. I love to see people happy. I mean, people, acting must be awesome. Yeah, I love acting and all that. The greatest thing I get joy out of is making someone happy. And I think that will make you, not only God gives you grace for that, but it just makes you, your everything is lighter because you get joy. You looking to make someone happy, And now my niece has two little kids. She has a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they love their Uncle Ernie. The 9-year-old has 2 million TikTok followers.
Wow.
And the 6-year-old. The 9-year-old was on a science project. The 6-year-old came up, you know what? You should do this and that. And she knew what to do, So I'm just asking, I've been praying on them and asking God to make them great women, and that they do great things, and not just them, but my proteges and my proteges. I have a godchild, T'Challa, named after King from the Black Panther. And I'm just praying that once I leave here, with all my faults, but that the good, I just want to really invest, and just seeing what happens with my little ones here, and the proteges they're not doing any drugs, no liquor, like John Claude, was a former protege. He's done like 30 films now, Wow. We were in Malcolm together. He played Benjamin X in there. But I'm really, so that's the secret to me is putting God first, and then being a servant to the people, trying not to cuss, 'cause I didn't cuss until I was 19. I was 19 years old, and I'm trying to. I guess anyone that sees this, please understand. I'm not doing it on purpose. I get so angry though. Right now, that's the only thing. But I'm gonna find some words to replace the cuss words one day.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. It's definitely been an honor to share some time with you, the legendary Ernest Lee Thomas, on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. If you may share any social media handles that you want to share with the people, or websites, or anything, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Ernest Lee Thomas on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And God bless you, brothers. God bless you, brothers. I just want to witness your ascension up the ladder of success. And God bless you in every way that you want to, whatever you want to do, your heart's desires, specifically tailor-made for you, And I thank you. I thank you for honoring me today.
The pleasure's ours. We appreciate you. Ernest Lee Thomas from the Hip Hop Essential Podcast. Salute, sir. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, here.